Have you ever asked yourself, why am I always the one that's asking for connection and time together in my relationship? And then sometimes you feel like you're nagging, and it's almost like the other person doesn't really want to spend that much time with you, and you're the one who wants to have more and more time together. Let's have a look at what's going on, not in the dynamic between you and your partner, but with that need for closeness and connection. Why it's important to you, where it comes from, and getting more intimate with that need can support you to get clearer in asking for that need in your relationship, because the more you are understanding why you need it and what it means to you, the more likely that you'll be able to ask with clarity and have a bit more creativity available to you, so that you can ask in many different ways and from many different people and many different sources, meaning that you get in touch with a sense of abundance within yourself and choice, rather than that scarcity that can come when we believe that we can only meet our need for connection in one particular way and with one particular person, which is also okay, by the way. It's not that we shouldn't want to meet the need for connection with our loved ones, but it's that when I get super attached to, I can only meet my need for connection with you by going to the cinema this evening, and if we don't do that, what's going to happen? Suddenly I feel alone. Suddenly I feel like you don't care. That's when I am in scarcity. I am in scarcity, and the only way I can meet my need is if we do that thing that we said we were going to do. So by learning what that need means to me, I become more abundant, more possibilities are available to me. And we're going to look at the first step that you can take today in order to move towards that abundance by understanding what connection means to you. Let's dive into connection together. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Heart to Heart. I'm your host, Emma Buggy, and I am so passionate about bringing people closer together and bridging that gap that can happen in relationships when we lose understanding, when we misfire and we don't quite get what on earth is happening between each other. I believe that true intimacy and love and closeness can be found when we learn how to listen to ourselves and what is important for us, and listen to the heart of our lovers, of our partners, of our friends. And in that place, there is a possibility for unity, harmony, and true intimacy to happen. So, what is connection? What is connection? What does that mean? Just for a moment, sit with me and ask yourself that question. What is connection? Perhaps memories will come into your mind from your past where you have experienced connection in a way that feels really meaningful for you. I know that for myself, connection is really at the core of why I do what I do. It's the reason that I stopped teaching art, which was my absolute life's passion. I grew up as a very creative young person. I was into drama, theatre, and then I really got into art, and I actually had this battle between the two. Shall I be an artist? Shall I be an actress? And that's because I had so much that I wanted to express to the world. I wanted to connect with people deeply in a meaningful way. And my artwork was all about expressing my sexuality, my womanhood. I really got into making art that was about the female body, and then bodies in general, body image, what it's like to grow up as a human being with all these body parts and genitals. How do they interact with each other? Looking at my own sense of womanhood, but then also my desires and my interest in other men and women. So many things came into play. And I just didn't know how to communicate this to the world because I was learning how to communicate that within myself. But I now look back at that and I see that my deepest desire was to connect with me as I explore myself through my artwork, and to connect with others as others look at my work and explore themselves in relationship to it. I was always that artist that would go along to my own exhibitions and sort of listen to what people were saying. And I would be happy with whatever reaction was there. I wasn't looking for praise. I was also looking for, shock or disgust or discomfort or disagreement with my work, because I wanted to understand how other people relate to the subject that I was bringing into the room. The problem is that I felt lonely in that. I felt alone. I felt separated from those that I was trying to connect to. I felt like I was lost in my own world of connection with myself, but I was missing out on that back and forth with another human being. And so when I came across Nonviolent Communication by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, which is the basis of all of the work that I do, I started to have another journey with connection. And I began to dance with life. I began to dance with the ebb and flow of communication, the discomforts that come when I express my vulnerability to someone I love or I am close with. And then also the beauty that comes when they are honest and open with me. And what happens when I learn to slow down and listen to what's actually happening between us. And for me, that's where I started to understand what connection really is. It's this dance between humans or animals or nature, whatever it is. It's this dance of energy that's flowing, and that creates this bond of life that's moving through me, through you, through everything. It's the essence of unity. For me, I'm explaining to you my personal experience of connection. So for you, it might be different. And I really sort of invite you to take a pen and paper or whatever supports you to have a think and journal with connection for yourself. What does that mean to me? Like, what is connection for me? And why is it important for me? And what does it look like in my life? Yeah, and so now in this moment of my life, connection is about weaving together the hearts and minds of different people. And it's also about that very intimate moment when I'm sitting with another and we are slowing down together, and there is both that possibility for relaxation and trust to happen, and also the possibility for aliveness to be there, also the possibility for fear and sadness and insecurity. It's like the welcoming space where all relational experiences can happen. Yeah, and that's why I moved from teaching art and being an artist to a relationship coach, and staying with that question today of what is connection for me. So why is connection important to human beings? Well, if you think about it, as hunter-gatherers, we are hardwired to stay in community, to want to be with our others, the tribe that we have grown up in. That is fundamental to being a human being, searching for our community, our like-minded people, and feeling at home together. Family, having that network of family, is what helps us to feel safe in the world. Because if I, like any mammal, you look at lions, you have the lone lions that are searching for their pack, because on their own, they cannot fight for themselves. They cannot fend for themselves. They cannot hunt on their own. They cannot procreate. Now, I'm not reducing us humans down to all of those reasons for instincts for survival. It's not like the only reason we are here is to procreate and hunt and eat. No, we have many other needs that we are trying to meet in our human existence. But fundamentally, safety and togetherness and belonging are what make us human beings and what make us move through the world. And there are many ways that we might search for those needs to be met. Some of us look for belonging with distance through the internet, through social networks, or through certain ideologies or ways of thinking. And then we find our community and our sense of belonging in that way. And we might be physically quite isolated, but we're looking to belong through the ideas that we connect with. Whereas other people might search for belonging and togetherness in the physical sense, in society, in culture, in community. But again, connection, this need to be connected and to know your tribe, your community, your people, to feel that sense of family around you is a driving instinct that keeps us alive in the world, because without that, we cannot live. In fact, there was an experiment that was conducted in the 1950s and 60s by Harry Harlow, quite a harrowing experiment that I feel in myself pain to recount. And at the same time, I think it does demonstrate how deeply we human beings and animals need that comfort and closeness of connection. So there were monkey babies, and they created two sets of mothers, one that was made out of wire, and the wire mother would give these monkeys milk, and the other that was made out of cloth and softness, and that would give the babies comfort. And apparently it was overwhelmingly clear that the monkeys would choose the comfort and the softness over the milk. Even though the milk was giving them sustenance and food, they would go for the warmth and closeness and comforting of the fabric mother. For me, that is, again, bringing us back to this need for touch, which is another human value that we have. And that touch is a part of the family of needs of closeness and connection and togetherness that us humans need in order to survive. So bringing this back to you, you're probably thinking, okay, we've had a look at why connection is important for Emma, why it's important for us human beings, the fact that it is about being a human being, and that it is the center of our driving force is to be in togetherness with others. So what has that got to do with you and your relationship right now? So again, if you do find yourself being the one who is asking for connection more or wanting it in your relationship in a certain way, and it leaves you feeling like you don't matter to your partner, I would love to invite you into this writing process that I mentioned at the beginning. Write down on a piece of paper the word connection, and give yourself some time to really let that word sink into your body, into your memory. And perhaps write about some experiences that you've had in the past where that need for connection has really, truly been met for you. It might be just a tiny moment, or it might be a whole experience. And just allow yourself to write about that moment, to bring in the colours and the textures and the memory into full bloom. And then just sit with that for a second. Notice how it feels to experience connection in your body right now as you write about it. You might find yourself feeling sadness and mourning, a wish for more of that. Or you might find yourself really connecting with the energy of that connection. Either way, both experiences or anything other than that, including numbness, are all welcome. It's all about just getting familiar with why it's important for you. The next layer is to ask yourself, why is this need so important for me right now? And what does it mean for me to experience more connection, more closeness in my life, in my relationship, and in other parts of my life? And allow yourself to write with that. See how it feels to just connect with your longing, your desire, and why it's important for you. And from that place, perhaps, maybe, you will have some ideas around the different ways, the many, many different ways that you can begin to meet that need for connection in your life. Because what often happens is that when I get super attached to meeting my need for connection with you right now in the exact way that we have planned to, for example, we are going to the cinema tonight because that was what we planned. And now you're saying that you're too tired to watch a movie and you'd rather do something different. And then suddenly I freak out because I tell myself that I don't matter to you. There's a lot going on in that. There's the vulnerability of not knowing if I matter to you, which is one whole other episode that we could look at. And there's also that need for closeness and connection that is still there and that still wants to be cared for. So the more you know why it's important to you and what it looks like and how you experience a connection in your life, the more possibilities for meeting that need will become available to you. Perhaps even now, after listening to this episode, you might have some ideas. What are different ways, many different ways, that I can meet my need for connection in my life right now? And that might be attached to your partner, but it might also be within yourself. It might be with other people. It might be with nature. I'd love to hear how this exercise lands with you. What does it bring up for you, including challenges, including new perspectives, including any feelings of hopelessness, fear, or aliveness and joy? Do get in contact and share with me your experiences. And if you are interested in learning more about how to understand your needs so that you can express yourself with more clarity and find ways to be in relationship that help you to feel more safe, more understood, more connected, then do keep an eye out for my upcoming workshops. I have one starting very soon. So have a look at my website, www.empathart.com. The link is in the chat notes. And we will be changing that website very soon as we are rebranding. So keep a lookout for the new website name. And don't worry, everything will be redirected to Empath from Empath Art anyway. So I hope that you've enjoyed this session and thank you for following me.